Welcome to yet another exciting educational video brought to you by Upvision Concept Academy. So in today's video, we're looking at biology, and the topic for discussion today is coordination and control, nervous and endocrine system. We'll see the series of system in the animal body, and our focus today is coordination. In this lesson, we'll look at key definition and concepts. What is coordination, what is nervous system, and we'll look at the endocrine system and important experiments to back up this particular topic. So if you are new to this channel, subscribe to our channel and sit tight while we go into this full video. So what is coordination? What is coordination? When you see the word coordination, what comes to your mind? You see that it is defined as the process by which different organs, systems of the body work together harmoniously to produce a correct response. So it's the process by which different organs and systems of the body work together harmoniously. So this word is very important. Harmoniously, yeah. Okay, to produce a correct response to stimuli. Correct response to stimuli. So a stimuli is something that prompts the body to react. Something that prompts the body to react. So this is coordination. For instance, now your hand touch a candle that is lit, a flame, and even without knowing what it is, you just withdraw. The reaction is that you withdraw that part of the body that is exposed to that kind of heat. And sometimes you don't even need your seeing it, your eyes seeing the fire for you to react. It is the heat. The body temperature has risen above the normal, and the brain interprets it through the nervous system, and your hand is pulled away. So that action of responding, every part of the body is working. Your brain, your nervous system, your hand, or the part of the body that is exposed to that fire. You see that everything works together in a coordinated system to ensure that the response to that stimuli of fire is that the hand is withdrawn from that fire. So it is a coordinated attempt. What are the types of the nervous system? So the types of the nervous system. So we go into the types of coordination. The first one I have is the nervous coordination, and the nervous coordination uses nerves. So you see that it uses nerves. So nerves are just tiny lines that is responsible for carrying charges in the body. So these charges or cells are known as neurons. So it uses nerves. Okay, so I can call it neurons. Okay, to actually carry out this coordination, to transmit information. So there's a system. There's a system in the body that is like a form of transport for the transmission of information, and this is known as the neurons. The system is the nervous coordination system. The second type of coordination is hormonal or endocrine. So for the hormonal, you have hormones. It uses hormones. Hormone is released into the bloodstream. So hormones is released into the bloodstream. the bloodstream. So these hormones are responsible for actually bringing about response. But you know, in this case, this response is slower. Response here is slower. Response here is slower and longer. So this kind of gives us a typical difference between these two. Why this one has to do with a fast coordination or response to that particular stimuli. This one is like a gradual response through the use of hormones. Okay, so we'll dive into the nervous systems. Okay, so now we have on the board the nervous system divisions. So there are three broad divisions that we'll look at. We'll see the central nervous system, or you can call it the CNS. CNS, see the acronym CNS. And you have the peripheral nervous system, or the PNS. The PNS. And lastly, we have the autonomic nervous system, that is ANS by acronym. Okay, so what are just the key features? So this central nervous system have to do with the brain and spinal cord. The brain and spinal cord. So these are the two parts of the bodies that are in the central nervous system. So from the brain up, let me just do this. Spinal cord is here, this is the brain. This is the two hands and the legs. So this is the spinal cord, that is the central bone that other bones can connect to in the trunk. Okay, so the peripheral nervous system, PNS, are nerves connecting to the CNS. So I have nerves connecting to the CNS. CNS now is central nervous system, right? Okay, and okay, connecting the CNS to the body. The nerves connecting the CNS to the body. Connecting the CNS, sorry, the CNS to the body. Okay, so the brain and the spinal cord, there are nerves that connect it to other parts of the body. That is the peripheral nervous system. And finally, we have the autonomic nervous system. This one now controls involuntary action activities. This one, it controls involuntary. Involuntary means that, I reacted without even thinking. Fast reactions, okay? So I don't have to think about it, understand? So example of this one now is the heartbeat. Heartbeat, your heartbeat, you don't plan for your heart to beat. Heartbeat, is this correct? Yes, heartbeat. So this continues, like swallowing of food. Understand? These are involuntary action, digestion, involuntary action. So the autonomic nervous system, ANS, is the one that controls this type of activities in the body. Okay, so here we talk about the neurons and the types. So still on the nervous system, you know, we treated the divisions of the nervous system. That is how it is divided. So then we are now going to the neurons and the types of the neurons. So I have the sensory neuron, then the motor neurons, and the relay neurons. What are these? What are these? Okay, so sensory neurons actually carry impulses from receptors to the CNS. It carries, or sensory neuron carries, all right? Carry impulses. Or the English, impulses like signals, impulses from where? Receptors. Okay, receptors to the CNS. Remember, CNS is central nervous system. Okay, so it carries impulses. Impulses are just like signals, like okay, I'm talking electrical now. You touch something now. You're not looking. You're just moving, and you stepped on with your bare foot. You stepped on a sharp object. You understand? Now that sharp object piercing your skin in your bare foot triggers impulses. This is what called impulses. This happens very fast. It's not as if it takes time. It's not a slow motion stuff. It happens very fast. Those impulses are from the receptors. The receptors now is that your foot, where you are having contact with that sharp object. That is the receptor. Understand? So the receptors now go to the CNS. CNS now is the central nervous system. So that central nervous system is where this information is processed to say, oh, this is danger. It's not a pleasant experience. And we will see where there will be a feedback where that receptor is withdrawn involuntarily very fast, from that contact. Okay, so the sensory neurons carry impulses. So the sensory neurons are around your receptors, either your leg, your hand. Receptors is anywhere closer to the skin. That's where you can feel any external impacts from outside, feel any impact on the body. If it's a soft touch, you don't need to react very, very fast. It's not, the more damaging the contact is, the faster your reflex or your reaction to stimuli to that particular touch. So that's for the sensory neuron. And the motor neuron carries impulses from CNS to effectors. Okay, so I will put it here. It carries or carry impulses, okay, from CNS to the effectors. So what are effectors? What are the effectors? Effectors, okay, in brackets, I'll just put muscles and glands. Muscles / glands. So the muscles are the effectors. From the word effector, they are the ones that actually affects the action. The action. It don't require your thinking or your brain. It just go ahead and issue it to the effector. Remove this part of the body from this sharp object. Remove this part of the body from this hot object. You understand? So the motor neurons, when the word is actually a movement kind of thing. It's not a static thing. It's a movement. It's an action thing. So it carries impulses from the CNS, from the central nervous system, you understand, from the brain to the effectors, muscles and glands. Okay. So relay. What's relay? So it connects sensory and motor neurons within the CNS. So this one connects. It connects the sensory and motor neurons within the CNS, so within the central nervous system. So that's what it does. So under the structure, we'll look at the things that we can see in the nervous system. We have the dendrites, cell body, and the axon, the myelin, then the rods of Ranvier, the nodes of Ranvier. So these are the structure of the nervous systems. So the dendrites, the cell body, the axon, the myelin, and the nodes of Ranvier. Okay, this is sheath, marine sheath. Okay, so these are the structure of the nervous system. Okay. So the synapse is a junction between two neurons where neurotransmitters help transmit impulses. So it's like a junction in this system of endocrine nervous system. You see that junction between neurons where neurotransmitters help transmit impulses. So the reflex action is automatic or rapid response to stimuli. So by definition, reflex action is automatic. It doesn't involve the use of brain. Automatic, rapid response to stimuli. E.g., the withdrawal of the hand from a burning object. Object that has a very high temperature. So your hand just touches it by mistake, you just withdraw it. So that is definition of reflex action. So how does it happen? How does this happen? I can just say pathway. What is the mode of operation? How does it happen? The first thing is when there's a stimulus. You have stimulus is one, stimuli is many. So you have the receptor that receives it. The receptor is that part of the body that is interfacing with the stimuli or hot objects. Then when the receptor receives it, it goes to the sensory neuron. Then from the sensory neuron, it goes to the relay neuron. So that's where the impulse is transmitted from the relay neuron. Then you see the motor neuron. And from there, it goes to the effector. The effector is the one that will now remove control the hand to remove it. You understand? And you will see the response. The response now will be the removal of the hand. So this is how this thing goes from the stimulus to the receptor, from the stimulus to the receptor, yes, from the receptor to the relay, from the relay to the motor neuron, and from the motor neuron you have the effector, and finally you now get the response. So here we see the endocrine system. By definition, the endocrine system is a system of ductless glands that releases hormone directly into the bloodstream. So it's a system of ductless glands that releases hormones into the bloodstream. How do you spell stream? Yeah, it's a stream. Okay, so it is a system of ductless glands that releases hormones into the bloodstream. Okay, this release is direct. Okay, so what are the key glands and the hormones? So I'm going to list them. The key glands and hormones. First on this list, I have the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland. Okay, what does this one do? This pituitary gland is for growth. Growth hormones, and ADH. Okay. The second here is the thyroid. Thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is known as the thyroxine. Thyroxine. And what does it do? What does it do? It controls metabolism. It controls metabolism. Okay. The third one I have here is the pancreas. The pancreas is another endocrine system. The pancreas, and this one has to do with insulin and glycogen. Insulin and glycogen. This one has to do with the regulation of sugar, regulation of blood sugar regulation, blood sugar regulation. Okay, regulation. Okay, so the fourth one is the adrenaline or adrenal. Adrenaline. This has to do with fright and fear. Fight and flight. Fight and flight. That thing that makes you get ready to fight or to get ready to run. You see a lion, the first your instinct is to run. Well, okay, so the fifth one here is the ovaries. The ovaries is the female reproductive organ that releases estrogen and progesterone. Okay, estrogen. For this particular purpose, ovaries, estrogen. Okay, and finally, the testis is the testosterone. The testis number 6. What do I put this number 6 now? Okay, let me put it up. Let's take this off. Okay, so this is pituitary, and number 6, I have the testosterone or the testis. Here you have the testosterone. Okay, so I can put progesterone here for the female. Progesterone. Okay, so these are basically the 6 key glands and hormones: pituitary gland, thyroid gland, pancreas, adrenaline, ovaries, and the testes. Okay, so what are the key difference between the nervous and hormonal? So we looked at the nervous and the hormonal or the endocrine. So what are the key difference? It has to do with response. It's very clear from what I've discussed in this lesson so far. You see the endocrine, sorry, the nervous. Okay, let me just put difference between the nervous and hormonal. The nervous and hormonal system. Okay, so for number 1, for the nervous system, we see the key feature has to do with response. Very, very fast. So it is fast, and it has to do with electrical impulses. Don't worry, this one does not shock. Electrical and short term impulses and short term. So when the feeling is over, when the cycle is completed, that is when you have the response, then this thing stops. It's short term. It doesn't replay and replay and replay. But for the hormonal is slow. Hormonal is slow. Okay, is chemical signals, and long term. So these are the key differences. Okay, so we actually in this video saw the difference between the endocrine, what's coordination. We saw coordination, and we defined the nervous system, and we also defined the endocrine system, and wrapped up to give us the difference between the two kinds of system. So I hope this video has been informative for you. I'd like to thank you for viewing. Please subscribe to our channel if you're not yet subscribed. Upvision Academy, we are here for you to give you lessons in the STEMs, physics, chemistry, and maths and biology. See you in the next one.